Okay, so for this class, I did end up pulling a card from the Work Your Light deck that I shared earlier. And it was funny because this is a card that I've pulled recently with friends, and it was Star Mother. And I thought it was very fitting. So the question is, how can you mother yourself? But I did want to read the little paragraph about it just so that you guys have something to ponder on and reflect on while you move and breathe. So here we go. You are more held than you can possibly imagine, loved and cherished so dearly that if you knew, you would not spend 1 second of your life in separation, worry, or fear. Let the mother carry your burdens. Let her rock away your fears. Lay all of your worries, regrets, shame, and guilt on her altar. Please, please, sweet child, do not fear. You are love in motion. If you allow it, you are already healed. Let her remind you of your goodness. Let her love away your fears. Your capacity to love and hold others is limited to your capacity to love and hold yourself. Be compassionate with your sweet body, mind, and soul. Treat yourself like a spirit that you truly are. Remind yourself that you are doing your best and try not to carry it all on your own. You've got this, and the mother has got you. Let her broad arms take away your burdens. Let her lift the weight of the world off your shoulders. Forgive yourself, my dear sweet child of the earth. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just let those words settle on you while you find a nice tall seat. So if you're already settled up on your blocks or on a bolster, it's up to you. Close your eyes. And just let your hands settle back on your thighs. And again, just let those words come back into your ears, through your mind, and settle into your body. And just ask yourself that question again. How can you mother yourself? Not just on the mat during this practice, but as you move through your pregnancy, as you move through the actual action of labor and birth, and then even in postpartum. What's one thing you can do today or tomorrow? One little action that might make you feel a little more mothered, a little more loved, that would potentially give you the capacity to love others a little more. And just starting with your breath, take that focus into more of an expansive breath, really 3D. Right? Breathe in so deep, your belly even starts to grow, your chest lifts up. When you breathe out, let your shoulders melt, let your hips settle down. And just take 2 more conscious breaths like that. In through your nose, filling up into your belly, your chest. Exhale out of your mouth. One more time, breathe in, belly, ribs, chest, your pelvic floor is relaxed. Exhale out of your mouth. Everything just naturally contracts on its own. When you breathe out, you don't have to do anything. And then let your chin come down towards your chest and roll one ear over. Breathe into that opposite shoulder and neck. And slowly roll back to the middle and over to the other side. Moving slowly and intentionally, and taking any pauses where you feel like, ooh, that's like a good feeling, and stay in that sensation. My theme for this month is embody. So this practice is truly about going slow and truly tuning into all the sensations you get. Maybe not even just in your body, but think about like what's happening like literally inside of your belly, all that magic that's going on. Even out your head rolls. Let your head come back to the center. And take your hands and just gently interlace your fingers and give yourself a slight overpressure. And with that tucking of your chin in towards your chest, maybe you let your low back and your upper back round forward. And just hug your baby back as you breathe into this entire posterior side. Be really gentle here. Stay for one more breath, opening up the back body. And inhale, come back up through a neutral spine. Let your hands come down behind you. Either reach for the sides of your bolster or onto the floor, and just gently pick up your chest. So start to lift up from your lower rib cage and really peel your shoulder heads back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. You can keep your fingertips down on the ground, but maybe you rotate your palms so they're facing front. So that pulls the entire shoulder head back. Try keeping your chin off your chest and take one big breath. And breathe out, come to a neutral spine. And if your shins are crossed in front, go ahead and take them out the other way and just reverse it. So you're kind of seated in the awkward sitting position for yourself. Okay, take a big breath in, take your arms all the way up overhead and feel that length in your arms. When you breathe out, pull your elbows wide and pull your arms back behind you. Start to take some circles of the shoulders and arms, breathing in, reach forward and up. Exhale and pull down your back. One more time, breathe in, reach all the way up, opening up through your chest, your underarms. Breathe out, imagine you're taking a bar and you're pulling it down behind your back. Then breathe in, reach your arms long, take it all the way up overhead. Exhale and twist over to your right. Take your left hand all the way across to your thigh or your knee. Your right hand can be on your bolster. Or if it feels good, you can put your hand on your low back. I like getting the bolster because it gives you a little bit of leverage. So breathe in and sit yourself up taller. Breathe out and look over your right shoulder. Doesn't have to be a gnarly twist, right? Just smooth and even with your breath. You can take it deeper by deepening your breath. And this twist is coming from your upper back, not so much from your belly. Breathe in, come back into the center, reach your arms up to the sky, feel the length in your waist. Breathe out, twist to your left. So right arm comes across, grab a hold of the bolster or anything behind you or your low back. Take your breath in and sit up a little taller. Exhale, look all the way over your left shoulder. You can have strong arms squeezing your triceps, or you can soften your elbows as you deepen in. Take one more. Then breathe in, come back to the center, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale and pull your elbows out wide one more time. And then walk your arms forward. You can shift onto your hands and your knees. And while you're there, just organize your things so that you have them accessible. If your blocks are behind you, bring them up to the top of your mat. Same with your bolster, so they're just there and ready. Open up your fingers. Place your palms down underneath your shoulders. Walk your knees back so they're underneath your hips. Let's tuck the toes under, and you can sway your hips out from side to side, or you can push them back and start to open up into the bottoms of your feet. You can circle out your ankles if you have been sitting all day at a desk or just hanging out at home. Start to work into those feet a little bit and see if you can get some action in there if you have any swelling. You can pulse the hips back and forward even if that feels good to start. This practice is really your own. I'll be the guide, right? But You get to make the choices as to what feels really good. Where is your depth? Once you feel like you've pushed your hips down low enough, maybe even settle your hips down where your shoulders are over your wrists and you're starting to feel this gentle stretch in your belly. If this feels like way too much pressure on your back, start to just inch your butt up, tuck your tailbone down, and just feel out maybe more of a modified plank. Okay. You can still feel like a stretch if you keep that there, and even kick up your heels, depending on where you're at in your pregnancy. Right? And slowly take it all the way back. Let's grab both of your blocks and put them at shoulder width distance apart. I want you to walk your elbows into the middle of the block. So really pierce down there. You're gonna walk your knees back so that your chest can settle down in between your arms. And you can lower your head all the way down if that feels okay. I want you to work on expanding your chest again and keeping the hips really high. This is where I actually want you to connect to your pelvic floor. So not while you're sitting on it, right? But while it's open and available, take a breath in. See if you can relax your pelvic floor. And when you breathe out, you can gently give yourself a squeeze, a little hug of your belly, your low ribs come down. Take another breath in and just let that tension go. Feel that widening of your sits bones as you breathe in. And when you breathe out, you can gently hug it up. It doesn't have to be a huge squeeze or a huge Kegel. And it will happen on its own. Again, go with your breath. If your arms are feeling like they want an extra stretch, an extra tricep stretch, you can bend your elbows, put your hands together right behind your head, right at the base of your neck. And keep channeling that breath for 2 more. Start to straighten out your arms if your elbows are bent. Pierce those elbows back into the block so you can shift forward onto your elbows and walk your knees in. Okay, move the blocks out of the way. Put your hands down again. And when you're ready, you can just step your right foot forward, okay, followed by your left. Come into your forward fold. Just letting your head come down. If it feels okay for any acid reflux, right, you could always prop yourself up with blocks and keep your head above your heart. Then feel into the backs of your legs. Bend one knee at a time. Feel your hamstrings. Feel your glutes as you shift your weight from side to side. We're going to take this one really slow and mellow tonight. So a lot of the same things, spending a lot of time and breath, being the movement, being the dynamic part of the practice. Okay, so keep your right foot forward. Let's just walk the left foot back. Again, lower the left knee down. You could walk your blocks up right by your hips so that you have some support and stability for balance. Okay. Your stance should be a little wide, so your knee is underneath your left hip and your right foot is out in front of your right hip. Okay, you can push your tailbone down, get this little tuck happening. If you have any compression in your low back, just generate a little hug of your belly before you shift your hips forward. Okay, you'll feel a big stretch on your left side, and you can keep your fingers down on the blocks for support, for balance. If you want more of a challenge, obviously your arms can go all the way up overhead. Okay, and just take a breath in, finding some space. Breathe out and settle back into your hips. Inhale, inch yourself out. Exhale, dive in deeper. I want you to imagine you're talking to your right foot. And you're telling all 4 corners of the foot to stay down, keep you supported and balanced. Last one right here. Okay, stay in the depth of your lunge. And bring your right hand down to that block. Breathe in, find some space in your spine. Breathe out, take a side bend to the right. And you can stay right there, breathing in to inch out of the side bend. And breathing out to deepen in. I don't know about you, but my right glute is already starting to talk back and fire up, which is good. That's what we need. We need the strength and the ease in all of these postures. Take one more. Noticing how that stretch feels across your waist and your belly. Inhale and bring your both hands high. Exhale, and let's grab both blocks. Shift them forward. You're gonna keep bending into that right knee for now. Tuck your left toes under. Lift up your back knee. Okay, take a breath in. Think about pulling your heart forward. Breathe out and straighten out your right leg. Let your left heel drift back down behind you so it gets really heavy. Okay, take a breath in. Think long in your spine. Breathe out. Give your quads a squeeze while you stretch out this hamstring on the right side. You feel a little stretch on your left calf. Maybe you just stay right here for the next 4 breaths. You can move and pivot your hips on top of your right thigh if that feels better for you. Doing something more dynamic with your body. If you've got any sciatica issues right now, any tightness there, you can try pulling your toes all the way up and lowering them down as a part of your dynamic movement. Take one more. And then bend back into your right leg. You can step that foot a little closer to you so that you can step the left foot up to meet it. That feels right. Take another breath in. Find a halfway lift. So think long spine, hamstrings and sits bones lifted up. Breathe out, let yourself fold. Then inhale, bend into your knees. Find that long spine really active and come all the way up to stand with a big reach overhead. And exhale, take your hands in through your heart space. And then hold on to your hips. And just circle out your hips. Noticing what you feel on this entire right side. Reverse those circles out. Good. And then just to be aware, right, of our balance, it gets a little trickier as we move on through pregnancy. So if you have a countertop or a wall to hold on to for this next part, try it out, or just see how your balance is. Have these blocks available right in front of you. I'm going to show you from the front this time. You're going to stay on your right side. Bring your left knee up towards your chest, just so that your thigh is parallel with the earth. You're going to do a little figure 4 action. Cross it over on top of your right thigh, and then settle down back into your hips. So from the side, I'm actually going to use the countertop, and you can do this at home too if you have like a higher or even a lower countertop for in your kitchen or your bathroom. Just bending into that knee, into your standing leg, hinge into your hips, and use the countertop if you have like a little grip of it, really good grip. You can lean back and get this traction in your spine. Okay, but otherwise you're just using the wall or the blocks for some balance. You can circle out those ankles again, or you can keep the ankle dorsiflexed and really feel this stretch out in your left glute. A little more strength in your right. And settle in for 2 more. Last one. Nice. Just uncross your left leg. Go ahead and plant it down. You can widen out your feet. Give yourself a little sway of your hips from side to side. Notice how that all feels and is talking back to your body. And then just keep your left foot in front, blocks at the front, Step your right foot back, followed by your right knee. Begin to prop yourself up so your shoulders are going back over your hips. You have the blocks by your side to help you with the balance here. And it's the same thing. Pull your hips back. Do a rotation, right? It's going under on the tailbone, pulling your waistband or your baby back. Gently push the hips forward. So you're just getting that little shift. And that's all that is. It's a breath in to inch back, a breath out to come forward. So you can do that with your left hand on the block, right hand up, or match and mirror your arms over your head. And as you find more depth, you'll find a little more energy coming in through your left side. Do a few more. Think of these as like your reps to stay strong, to stay supple. And mine's already starting to feel warm, so stay deep in your hips. Take your left hand down to your block. Reach up and over as you breathe in. And you can find some more depth as you breathe out in your side bend. So you're reaching with your right arm to the left. I want you to feel this connection, right? From your shoulder, across your ribs, down your belly and obliques, into your hip flexors. You can even challenge this or play with this even into your neck. So if you look down at your left block, maybe you feel this all the way across the top of your neck and head. I know we didn't do that on the other side, but it's okay. You can try it later. And just do one more. And when you breathe in, challenge yourself to take both arms back up again, finding your center right in this middle. When you breathe out, grab both blocks. You're going to keep the bend in the left leg, but let's lift up the right knee, then straighten out your left leg. So when you look down, I don't want you to be on a tightrope feeling like you're having to balance a whole ton. So keep your feet about hip width distance apart, take a breath in, think long spine, squeeze your shoulder blades down your back, right? Breathe out, maybe hinge more forward from your hips. You can stay right there, moving with the breath. You can shift the hips from side to side, or do this little pivot action. It's almost like you're dipping your right hip down, pulling back on your left hip crease, and then pulling yourself open, getting more of this inner thigh action. You can start to play with lifting up the foot. So you're really driving down on the heel, lowering the foot down super slow. Get some control of your foot and ankle. Take two more, whatever you're doing, wherever you're at. And then bend into the left knee. Just push into your blocks and walk that foot back some so that you can step forward with the right. Bend into your knees, find your long spine, right? So you're settling almost into as if you're gonna be doing a squat, right? Picking something up off the ground. Really drive through your heels, drive through your butt to come all the way up to stand. Shift your hips forward and just do that circling out if you need to. That's always accessible for you. Otherwise, we'll go straight into your balance. So stand on your left foot. Use a wall or use a countertop or chair as needed. Take your right thigh all the way up to hip height. If you're working on your balance, you're still early in your pregnancy, try it out. And you can cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Settle back down into your hips. Push them back and keep your spine long. I feel like I can trust my countertop here, so I'm gonna lean back a bit and push my chest down so I really get some traction in my arms and in my spine. At the same time, getting a stretch in my right glute. You could keep using blocks And you energetically will get a stretch even if you activate your right glute and pull your knee down. Just try that one for 2 more. And then you can push up through your feet or your foot and lower your right foot down next to your left. You can widen out the stance, shift your tail from right to left, feeling all of that out. I'm going to turn to face the long end of my mat, and you can do the same, or you can stay facing the top end of your mat if you've got the room. Okay. Walk your toes in, heels out with this really wide stance, using your blocks as support. Bend into your knees to start and just shift your weight back. Take your hands to your hips. Really find this activation in your back. Okay, so it's not like a huge dump into your low back. I don't want you to feel that. You could even just use your hands on your thighs to start too. Find this little tuck of your tail down underneath you so your back feels spacious, your belly feels supported. You could even put your hand over your belly if that helps. But I want you to squeeze your butt, come all the way up to stand, and get the hip flexors to open up underneath you or in front of you. So you have hands on your back, hands on your hips, or around your belly if that helps. Right, keep the soft bend of your knees, hinge yourself forward. Feel that stretch in your hamstrings. Right, you can stay right there. If you want your hands on your thighs, you can play with that. Go side to side, bending one knee at a time. I know I said we were going to do everything like mellow and slow, but this move is actually really challenging, right? If you do them in repetition, which we might do a few together, because it helps keep you strong and prepares you for mommyhood or parenthood. Okay, take your hands to your hips, right? Squeeze your glutes, come all the way up to stand. I want you to feel this tension across your back body, right? As you're squeezing, it's almost as if you're rowing. So for this one, let's do a breath. We'll inhale to lower for this. And then on your exhale, squeeze your butt, use your hamstrings, drive your shoulder heads back. Again, inhale, hinge from your hips. Exhale, push through your feet, squeeze your butt, tap your butt if you need to wake it up. 2 more. Breathe in, hinge from your hips. Think long from your tail to your crown. Exhale, gather up your belly, gather up your pelvic floor and your back body. 1 more. Breathe in. You can even do a reach down as if you're picking something up. Exhale, hug everything back in. Now, point your toes out, walk your heels in, and let yourself settle into your legs. Bend your knees, let your hands on your thighs help you out here, and just rock your pelvis from right to left. Maybe you start to roll your shoulders one at a time, dipping them forward, just moving into the legs again and the back. And then take a breath in, find some length right in the middle. Breathe out, dip your right shoulder down, look to the left. And again, you can keep moving in your feet, keep moving in your hips if that feels right. And then breathe in, come back to the center. Exhale, dip your left shoulder down. Look all the way over to the right. Play with all of that. We'll go one more time each side. Inhale to the center. Exhale, dip your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, lower your left shoulder. And breathe in, come back to the middle, push through your feet again, reach all the way up through your arms and your legs. I want you to fill up the room that you're in. And feel this out, tailbone down, so your butt is turned on, your chest is expanded. Think like you're reaching your left foot away from your right fingertips, your right foot away from your left fingertips, and you're getting this stretch all the way through your head and your tail. You're just being broken open, but you're not broken. You're fully put together. You're fully strong. You inhabit this space. You inhabit this body all on your mat. You're mothering yourself while you're here. And you're already mothering your baby. Take a breath in. Again, just reach really long and up. Exhale, let yourself fold down. Start to heel toe your feet together, or not all the way together, but we'll go about shoulder width distance apart. Stick your blocks together right underneath your face. Let's keep your left hand down on top of those blocks. Bend into your left knee. Your hips can shift over, that's okay. Right hand can come to your low back to start. Breathe in. Let's find one more twist, a little opener in the hips as well. You can take that hand and reach all the way up overhead. Or if it feels really good for your shoulders, you can take your hand all the way across your back and work on opening up there. You might have to play with the height of your blocks. So sometimes it's the medium height that works perfectly. And you could also just let your head dip down towards the floor and feel this stretch all the way out in the top of your neck. Try one more breath. Then breathe in, relax your arm, your right arm down. Switch the bend out into your right knee while you place your right hand down. Breathe in, think about having a long spine. So you should see that big bend, right? As much as you can. Breathe out, twist to your left. Just pull your right hip crease back. You can take your left hand behind you. You could work on dipping your head down and feeling into your neck. Go slow with those. Thanks, you guys. Let's do one more breath. And then come all the way up. Or just relax that left arm down. You don't actually have to come all the way up. Let's lower onto the hands and knees. Okay. Swivel yourself over so that you can take a seat. We're gonna sit on one of your props, whatever feels best for you. I'm gonna go with the block because it gives me some more stability. Okay. Just because being folded over and standing feels a little different than hip hinging while sitting down. Let's try this with the legs wide. Okay. You can go as wide as you like, but I want you to feel like you're sitting up tall on your sits bones on top of your block or your bolster. You can have the other things out in front of you if that feels good. I might do it like that. Okay, take a breath in. Think about picking up your chest, pulling your toes back. Give your quads an active squeeze and lengthen out your arms. Okay, feel that openness, right? Again, like you're being pulled a bit. But breathe out, let yourself hinge forward, letting your belly potentially touch your bolster first, depending on how tight you are. Okay, give yourself a little squeeze, shoulder blades together, heart forward. And exhale, now you can let your arms relax out in front of you, let them catch you as you roll your spine down. So if the bolster, like in this position, is a little too low for me, you could stack up 2 blocks here and let your chest lay on it. So from the side, that could look like this. And you can look one direction, try relaxing your toes. Let yourself just round in. If it still feels better for you to keep yourself up, propped up, that's okay. ahead and flip your head over to the other side if your face is rotated one way. And just give yourself a few more breaths. Start to let go of the tension, connect it to your inner thighs, your inner shins or calves, all the way up to your pubic bone. And then start to rock yourself back up. Grab onto the backs of your knees and just pull your knees up, feet in. Maybe you get them so close you feel like you can, again, rock forward or inch back out. Really getting into a deeper part of your hips, more so this like underside part. Maybe even again, still in your inner thighs. Maybe you feel this in your ankles. Okay? But see what happens if you just lean your heart forward and get your thighs close to your ribs. You can just hold on to your legs or let your arms dangle out in front of you again. And I know a lot of the times we say keep like a really long spine. For this one, let's see what happens if you just let your chin drop all the way down and you get a good rounding in your spine. So for this breath, it's hard to breathe into the belly. So the focus is if you can breathe into your rib cage side to side, laterally, maybe you even get that feedback from your thighs as you expand your rib cage, but you have this entire back space to breathe into as well. So puff up into your back when you breathe in, and then when you breathe out, relax tension around your neck, your head. While you're curled down here, look at the spaces that your baby could potentially come from. If your belly's a little too big for that, just close your eyes and imagine the strength and resilience that does come from your own body. Remember that you were held, your baby's held. You're supported by your community, by your loved ones. And your baby will be too. Start to pick up your head, lift up your spine, and I want you just to sway your spine from side to side and check in with what your body intuitively needs. So if that means closing your eyes, don't worry about what anyone else is doing or what they're looking at, right? I trust that you will trust your body here. And just intuitively move your spine from side to side, or maybe you straighten out your legs and you roll your head around again. Maybe you go forward and back with your spine. Try this out for just a few more breaths, letting something else go. It doesn't matter what you look like. And when you're ready, you can find some stillness, blink your eyes open, and shift off of your blocks. You can stick them over to the side for now. Okay, just like what we did before with the figure 4 action, we can do this one again, deepening in, right, in this position on the floor, really working now on that long spine. Or if you have a preference for a modified double pigeon with your legs, your shins are not stacked. There's one in front of the other. I have my left one in front first. Or you can do that stack. You can anchor your foot above your right knee. So it's cradled in that little nook right there. You can let your left knee hang heavy if you need support. The block underneath the thigh is really supportive there. Okay, I want you to scooch the flesh out from underneath you though and help you sit tall, right? Then you can try that lean forward and use your blocks again as support for your forehead. You can lower onto your elbows onto the blocks. This is honestly one of my go-tos, my favorites for anyone who's pregnant. I want you to enjoy this and soak it in for 5 complete breaths. Stay with the feelings, track them in your body, watch them melt and integrate with every breath out. On that 5th breath, when you're complete, walk yourself up. Okay, lean back, uncross your legs, and just give them a little rocking, right? Or a windshield wipering. Going slow, feeling that internal rotation as opposed to the big external rotation you just had. And then we'll switch sides. So left leg will be closest to you or in front, or sorry, not in front, or on bottom. Right leg will be crossed on top or in front. So when you look down, you've got the triangle happening. There's a triangle space there. Okay, your shins are parallel to each other. Your feet are wide away from each other. And take your breath in as you sit up tall. You scooch that flesh out of the way. Take your breath out and lower yourself back in for the second side. Imagine you did have someone behind you, a support person, or your partner, just anchoring around your hips and sacrum and pulling down. If you had that anchor, if you can find some depth with your breath out, might feel pretty good. Take 2 more conscious breaths right here. And then begin to inch yourself up. Uncross your legs. You can do that same windshield wipering again, or you can straighten them out in front of you and just give them a good shake. Get all the wiggles out. And then, depending on where you are in the pregnancy, you can set yourself up for a rest, either all the way on your back if you're still comfortable with that, or with the support of your props. I like making a little T shape here with the 2 blocks and then using the bolster as an incline. So scooch your glutes all the way up to the edge of your bolster. Take your time leaning back onto the support there. You can do whatever feels right with the legs. If it's straight, it's straight. If you want to do knees bent, feet together, that's okay too. Just relax your arms down with your palms face up. Close your eyes. And just release the breath into its natural rhythm. Just let your body's intelligence do its magic. Let yourself surrender to your props, the floor, the space around you. You don't need to count out the breaths, but we'll be here for 10 breaths together consciously. Start to deepen your breath. When you begin to add movement, I want you to start with your hands. Wiggle your fingers, rotate your hands and wrists. And then bring them in front of your heart and just start to move your hands up and down. Generate some heat and friction in your palms. Imagine that's you generating some love. And go ahead and put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Focus on the sensation of your hands, that warmth that you give to yourself every time you step on the mat. The warmth that you give the baby inside of you that's growing. Don't forget to mother yourself as you come off the mat today. Take your time rolling to one side or sitting yourself up, any way that feels comfortable for you right now. You can meet me in a seat. And again, bring your hands to your heart space together. And I want you to, one more time, think of one thing you're grateful for just from today, from your experience just as a human or as a pregnant person. Pull in that gratitude with one more breath in together through your nose. And an open mouth exhale to give it all back. Thank you for showing up tonight. From my heart to yours, namaste.